1/2021 is called to order at concurrently at 6:10 p.m. Pursuant to Executive Order N-25-20 and N-29-20, members of the Planning Commission and staff are participating in this meeting via video link, Zoom, and/or teleconference. This is not an in-person meeting. Members of the public may observe this meeting on the City of Hawthorne website or on YouTube. We now have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Commissioner Richard. Okay.
Everyone put your right hand over your heart. Am I on the screen? Yeah, I'm there. Okay.
Yes.
And repeat after me. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Would the secretary please call the roll, please?
Okay. Chairperson Smith.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Al-Shanabli.
Present.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Muted.
Sorry, present.
Okay. Commissioner Caraveo.
Present.
And Commissioner Richard.
Present.
All present.
Thank you. Oral communications. This is a time for oral communications. Because this meeting is not an in-person meeting, members of the public who wish to participate in the meeting were asked to participate by calling or emailing the planning department no later than 5:30 p.m. today, noting the item on which the member wants to speak. This information was provided on the agenda, posted in compliance with the Brown Act on Thursday, July 1, 2021. At this time, if there were any messages left for oral communication, staff will either read messages on behalf of those individuals who wish to provide written comments for oral communication, or invite members of the public who wish to provide oral comments to speak through the Zoom application. Remarks, whether written or oral, are still limited to 3 minutes in duration. Staff, is there any participation from the public for oral communications? Maria, is that a no?
You're muted, Maria.
That is a no. There is no public participation.
Thank you. Okay. Planning Commission and Airport Zoning Commission consent. There are no items. We'll recess the Airport Zoning Commission and have the Planning Commission consent calendar. Item 1, consideration of Planning Commission and Airport Zoning Commission minutes for the regular meeting of June the 2nd, 2021.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes of June 2nd, 2021?
I'll move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
I'll second.
Oh, we got a second already. Chairperson Smith.
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Al-Shanabli.
I will abstain. I was absent that meeting.
Okay. Commissioner Ortiz.
Yes.
Commissioner Caraveo.
Yes.
And Commissioner Richard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Continued public hearings, no items. New public hearings, conditional use permit number 2021 CU02 beer and wine. Now is the time and place to open the public hearing to consider conditional use permit number 2021 CU02. Maria Maharek will present a staff report.
Good evening, commissioners. I hope you can see the screen and you can hear me. I will be presenting conditional use permit 2021 CU02. This is for a request for approval of a CUP for a beer and wine at a full service restaurant known as Lindo Acapulco. And the address is 3627 West Rosecrans Avenue. I do want to point out that in the notice that was sent out, there was a typo in the type of license, ABC license that was requested. The type that is actually requested is a type 41 for the on-sale beer and wine sales in an eating place. So this is for a full service bona fide restaurant, which is actually less extensive than the original one that was advertised. So I do want to make that comment. The property, as you can see from the vicinity, is off of West Rosecrans Avenue. And there's actually a couple of uses on this property. It is commercially zoned, but there is a single family home and the restaurant, Lindo Acapulco, as you can see from the project site. And in yellow, I've highlighted just the portion where the restaurant is and the parking at the rear. As I mentioned, this is in a commercial zone. There is a mixed use overlay on this property, as you can see from the zoning map. This is a pretty good aerial view of the restaurant itself and a little site plan. It's not to scale, just so you know, but there is one restaurant, a single family home. There are 7 dedicated parking stalls for the restaurant. And there are 2 stalls in front of the single family home dedicated just for the home itself. The restaurant itself is very small. It's under 800 square feet. And here's a street view of the restaurant. And it's not very large. On the interior, there's 2 booths and 2 tables, and the applicant can verify to make sure that that is correct. I would like them to verify that. And there are 3 benches on the outside of the restaurant itself. The staff is recommending that because there is seating outside, that the beer and wine would only be served at the interior of the restaurant itself. As you can see, this is right up against the sidewalk, and the railing is pretty low. So just for safety, and it would be best that that is done within the interior of the establishment. That concludes my staff report, and planning is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 2020-105, which approves the CUP for the on-site sales of beer and wine within a bona fide restaurant, which is a type 41. If you do have some questions, I'll be happy to answer for staff. And I believe we do have the applicant to answer any additional questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Does the Planning Commission have any questions for staff? This is the time for questions of staff only.
Through the chair, yes, quick question. So Maria, the requirement or the recommendation of not serving alcohol at the exterior patio or dining area, that's just a recommendation. That's not a code.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. That is just a recommendation.
Okay. And is that railing that they have? I mean, it's. I know it's right next to the sidewalk, but in any other situation, I mean, would they have like a higher railing that would be acceptable? You know, I mean, for example, like at, I would say like at a boardwalk, like at the beach, you know, if you're, you know, you're right next to a restaurant, I mean, right next to the sidewalk, you know, there's plenty of locations where they would serve alcohol on the patio. But is it that they would have a higher barrier, or what's the reasoning behind the?
It's just it's a recommendation that we typically have done. We honestly, haven't had a restaurant with exterior like this that is right against the sidewalk. I think the last one that we had with an exterior patio was Earth Cafe, but that's deep within the lot, and it's not right up against the sidewalk. If the commission would allow the applicants to serve alcohol at the exterior, that would be fine with staff. We could always revisit if it becomes a problem. There is that built into the resolution itself that we can come back to the Planning Commission for revocation or updates, etc.
Okay, yeah, I'll reserve my comments for the discussion portion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to address the commission?
I have one more question. How many seats are inside?
There's 2 booths and 2 tables, and there's only, each booth and table only seats 4 people. So it's quite small.
Okay. Yeah, so it sounds like, you know, with that condition, it would be kind of limiting them on only selling to those people
It
that
would.
are inside. Yeah. Okay. And then in this picture on the other side, is there a railing closing off on the other end, or is it open on the other side?
Let's see. I believe it's open because the front, yes, it's open because the front door is right there, right in the front there.
Okay.
So a portion of it is open, not completely, but a portion. But we will definitely double check with the applicant.
Okay, that's all of my questions.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to address the commission on this issue that called in tonight to talk on it? Is there anyone, staff, is there anyone waiting in the room?
I believe Miss Calderon. Is the applicant. Double check. Yes, Miss Calderon is waiting.
Okay. Can you put her on so she can speak?
Miss Calderon, if you can unmute yourself.
Hello.
There she is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Please go right ahead, Ms. Calderon.
I wasn't told like what I needed to say.
Ms. Calderon, this is Maria, the planner. So there were a couple of questions posed by the planning commissioners. One was if the railing on the exterior is all the way, does it surround the other side by the front door? It's not completely closed, correct?
Right. Correct. It's not completely closed because the door is like right there.
Okay. And can you also verify the amount of interior seating? I have you have 2 booths and 2 tables.
Yes. So the 2 booths, they do sit 4 people, and then the 2 tables sit 2 people.
Okay. Each table 2 people?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
One, through the chair, if I may ask one more question, and it might be either to staff or maybe the applicant. The railing that is separating the patio from the sidewalk, is that right on the property line, or is there a little bit of space between the end of the outside portion of the railing and the property line?
I'm looking at a Google photo, street view. It appears to be right at the sidewalk edge.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yes, as you can see from the aerial right here, It's right on the property line, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else from the applicant?
Ms. Calderon, do you have any other questions or comments you would like to address to the Planning Commission?
I just have a quick question regarding the railing. I know it says recommended to not be served outside due to the railing being low. Can the railing be modified to be like a little higher, or?
So I think it's something that we're gonna discuss, Ms. Calderon.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's go to the first. Mr. Lasker, are there any documents to place into the administrative record, such as late communications?
No.
All right. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any final comments on this?
Yes, through the chair. So I definitely have a concern about not allowing alcoholic beverages to be served on the patio. One is I want to make sure that we treat our businesses just like any other business in any other city, especially in even more affluent cities, you know, where you see this situation very commonly, where there's a patio right next to the sidewalk and, you know, beer and wine is served with a meal. And again, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people like to go to other cities where, you know, this type of situation occurs, you know, because you could sit outside, enjoy a beer or wine, you know, with your meal. So I would definitely propose to my fellow commissioners that we allow this to happen at this location or in the future any other locations. But yeah, I really don't see a problem with allowing beer and wine to be served on the outside, especially keeping in mind that there's very limited space indoors. Also with the COVID situation, most people feel more comfortable eating outdoors. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if the applicant was able to not necessarily raise the guardrail height, because then that has a visibility impact when somebody's sitting down. But I would say if some sort of like planters can be like almost like window planters could be added around the perimeter, I think that would be give you a little bit more of a buffer between the sidewalk and this dining area. And even if it's just like 6 inches, you know, something very minimal, just a recommendation. That's it.
Yeah, I have a comment too. I agree with Commissioner Ortiz, because my only thought is, you know, somebody comes there to have food and drink, and they get inside and they find out, oh, you have to eat outside, but if there's people already sitting outside, all 3 tables are taken up, then they're just gonna say, oh, well, forget it and leave. And I think that's not gonna be beneficial to their business. So I would agree that, and I see no problem with serving beer outside either.
Yeah, I agree with the other commissioners and the chairman on allowing them to serve alcohol outside, especially with the inside being limited to the amount of seating. And I'm in charge of open air dining for the city where I work at. And one thing that we like to see is that the railing or that the enclosed area outside is fully enclosed. So maybe if, providing that extension of the railing to connect towards the building, to limit the off-site, use of alcohol. So that way nobody's, buying and then just walking off, with their alcohol, making sure that it's consumed on site. If we can, maybe add a condition that they extend the railing to the connect to the building.
If I may, through the chair, what I understood is that the entrance is also from this area. So if they extended the railing, that would block the entrance of the restaurant, right?
It
Yeah,
can be an open, like it can be like a gate that opens.
gate?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be sealed off. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty common that they'll
Yeah.
have just a small portion of the railing that
The
swings.
gate. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I would support that condition also.
If there's no further comments on the item, I now will formally close the public hearing on this item. Call on my fellow commissioners for a vote on the item. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve with the allowance of beer and wine to be served on the patio, and with the condition if the applicant is acceptable of it to add the gate at the guardrail to fully enclose the patio.
I'll second the motion. So will the secretary please call for the vote?
Through the chair, I think we probably need to get concurrence with the applicant that they would be willing to accept that condition for the added gate.
And through the chair, and add the planters that were suggested? Is that what you still want to do?
I'll leave that just as a suggestion. Because
Okay.
I know it encroaches into the public way. I mean.
Got it.
It would be something nice for them, just a suggestion.
Thank you.
Okay, Maria, would you ask the applicant?
Yes, Ms. Calderon?
Yes.
As I'm not sure if you understood the commission, they would like to allow you to serve alcohol on the outside patio with the condition of enclosing the other end, but by adding a gate so that there's entry.
Okay.
So the possibility of anyone walking out, is diminished, but you still have access to the front door.
Okay.
Okay, are you in concurrence with doing that with that condition, with those two conditions?
Yes, I do agree to creating and closing the gate, the fence, and creating a gate.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Calderon.
Okay.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll take the roll now. Chairperson Smith,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson El Shanable,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Caraveo,
Yes.
and Commissioner Richard.
Yes.
Okay, unanimously approved. With the conditions modified, we will modify the conditions of approval to reflect those directions and have them sign or have them ready for the next. Well, actually, sorry, I'm confusing different cities here. We'll just modify the conditions according to the construction. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to Hawthorne.
Thanks.
Now is the time and place to open the public hearing to consider conditional use permit number 2021 CU05. Maria Mahara will present a staff report.
Yes, Commissioners, let me, I will open up and share my screen here. There we go. Just to verify that the commissioners can see.
Yes.
Great, perfect. Thank you, commissioners. I am presenting Conditional use permit number 2021 CU04 for an increase in the fence height at 11617 Acacia Avenue. This address may be familiar to you. This is the location. It's off of Acacia between Hawthorne Boulevard and 116th Street is to the north of the property, and Hawthorne Boulevard to the west. And this property previously came before you for a color approval, and they were updating the exterior colors, the stone for the fireplace, and the fencing, and all of those things were occurring at this location. So here's an aerial view of the project. And what the applicant is requesting is to allow, in addition to the existing block wall fence, the maximum height will not exceed 7 feet 9 inches. And the property is a residential multifamily property. So it's an apartment building. Here is an aerial view of where they are proposing to put in the railing. So as you can see, it's not a completely enclosed railing because they still, would like it to be open, but prevent the possibility of anyone jumping the fence. And this view is taken from the neighbor to the south of the property. And so you can see they did start putting the railing in, unaware that they had to obtain permission. And so they were directed to the planning department to please apply for a conditional use permit, and they have. And as you can see, it's only going to be on the sides and a little bit to the rear of the property. And this railing does match the front of the property with the new wrought iron and block fencing. That's pretty much all there is for this application. Staff is recommending approval of the applicant's request for a fence pursuant to Chapter 17.48020A. The applicant's request is not unreasonable for safety concerns, and the use of the wrought iron will increase the fence height, but as you can see, it will not be obtrusive to their property and the adjacent properties. It does aesthetically fit with the overall design of the property itself, and therefore staff is recommending that the Planning Commission approve Resolution 2021-14, which approves conditional use permit 2021 CU04.
Okay, thank you. Does the Planning Commission have any questions for staff? This is a time for questions of staff only. Okay, seeing no one with a question. Is there anyone who wishes to address the commission on this issue? Do we have anybody in the room waiting to talk?
We do have the applicant, Mr. Jason DeFelice. Mr. DeFelice, if you can unmute yourself, if you would like to address the Planning Commission.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. DeFelice, if you have any comments for the Planning Commission.
Oh, no, I have no comments.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lask, are there any documents to place into the administrative record, such as late communication?
No.
Do any of my fellow commissioners have any final comments on this item or questions of staff? None. I now formally close the public hearing on this item. Call on my fellow commissioners for a vote on the item. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Will the secretary please call for the vote?
Okay, Chairperson Smith,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Lashanale,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Caraveo,
Yes.
and Commissioner Richard.
Yes.
Okay, unanimously approved.
Thank you. I'll now recess the Planning Commission and call back to order the Airport Zoning Commission. Airport Zoning Commission consent calendar, there are no items. Airport Zoning Commission new or continued public hearings, there are no items. I now call back to order the Planning Commission concurrently with the Airport Zoning Commission. Non-public hearing items, there are no items. Administrative items, 1, excuse me. Exterior color approval, project location 4910, 4918, 4936, and 4955 Rosecrans Avenue, commercial industrial building. Now is a time and place to consider an application for exterior colors for the commercial industrial building located at 4910, 4918, 4936, and 4955 Rosecrans Avenue. Maria Maharek will present a staff report.
Thank you, commissioners. One last application. This is for the administrative color approval for a commercial and industrial building at 4910 through 4955 Rosecrans Avenue. This property is within the regional commercial zone off of Rosecrans Avenue. As you can see from the vicinity and zoning map, it consists of 3 large commercial/industrial buildings. The reason I say they're commercial and industrial is because they are utilized in both forms. There's several types of businesses there. The hangar, oh gosh, I believe that was the name of it, where you can do rock climbing.
Hangar
was
18.
there? Yes, yes, Hangar 18, that's correct. So this is if you're familiar with that, this is where this location is. And so they had previously come through the Planning Commission back in 2017 for a color approval. But because the municipal code specifies that if the entitlements essentially or the approvals had not been completed, they expire within 3 years. And because of the expiration, the applicant had to return and request approval again for the update of the colors and materials for this building. As you can see from the existing and proposed colors, not only will they be updating the exterior of the buildings, but also the sign itself to match with what the whole vision of this property will be. As you can see, there's some existing photos of the buildings right now. They're blue and a bit outdated. And from the proposed color palette, it definitely will modernize the building a bit more. And all 3 of the buildings will receive this facelift. Here is an example of the materials that will be utilized and the colors. The base color will be like an off-white, black metal, and for the brows and the canopies. The reflective glass, that's for the windows and such. And there's going to be wood elements, and the monument sign itself will utilize some of the same materials. And I will go back so you can see what it looks like before and what the materials will be utilized. Within your packet, commissioners, you did receive an extensive look of all sides of the buildings. And so this concludes the staff report, and oh gosh, I do apologize for my recommendation here. I did not update that, but the staff recommendation is that the Planning Commission approve the colors and materials as stated, and that the applicant will maintain the building graffiti free and understands that the city does have the ability to cite for any graffiti left uncorrected. And this is per chapter 8.22. And the applicant will submit approvals for the sign separately, and that's a ministerial approval. That does not need to come before the Planning Commission, but the materials did, and this is the reason this is before you. So staff does recommend approval.
Okay.
And that concludes my staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the Planning Commission have any questions for staff? So this, again, this is the time for questions of staff only. Is any?
Yes, through the chair.
Yeah.
Maria,
Yes.
What is the zone that this
Let me go
building is
back.
in?
It's in the regional commercial zone, CR.
Okay, so there's no reason why like restaurants or any type of establishments like that can be put in the space?
Oh, they're permitted to go into this space.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Anyone else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lask, are there any documents to be placed into the administrative record, such as late communications?
No.
Thank you very much. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any final comments on this item or questions of staff?
I mean, if I may, I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's a leap forward from what it was. I'm very familiar with the area. My kids are avid rock climbers. So I think it's going to make the area look much more beautiful and modern. And I especially love the sign. So yeah, I'm all for it.
And all of
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
I agree as well. I think, I mean, I don't think it goes far enough. I think this is a great opportunity in this area, you know, where there's a high demand for more commercial or retail and restaurants. You know, that this could be a great opportunity. It seems like it's underutilized, the space. You know, I know it's more like industrial uses, I think, for the most part. But yeah, it's a good good move in the right direction. So.
Okay, thank you. No one else? All right. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, will the secretary please call the vote for the vote?
I'm sorry, who made the motion? Okay, I got it. Chairperson Smith
Yes.
and Vice Chairperson Alshnable,
Yes.
Commissioner Ortiz,
Yes.
Commissioner Carvalho,
Yes.
Commissioner Richard,
Yes.
unanimously yes.
Okay. Items to be placed on future agendas. Pre-agenda for the meeting on September 15th, 2021. Conditional use permit 2021 CU06, 5267 West Rosecrans Avenue, Beer and Wine. Another one will be reciprocal easement agreement 12814 Hawthorne Boulevard. Also the minutes of June 16, 2021 and minutes of July 7, 2021. So we're now at commissioners' reports. Do any of the commissioners have any reports?
I just have a couple of things I'd like to inform staff about. There's two things I noticed in the city. One, the shopping center that's on the corner of Hawthorne and El Segundo, where the Starbucks is. In the parking area that's closer to Taco Bell, there's like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 storage containers, like in the middle of the parking area. One, I don't think they're supposed to be there, at least not long-term. And 2, they have graffiti all over them. So if staff can have code enforcement take a look at that. And the second item is the property that is on the corner. It would be the southwest corner of Prairie Avenue and 120th Street. I believe that property is owned by SpaceX. And I mean, it just looks in pretty bad shape. Just overall, like stucco it looks like some of the windows were replaced like 3 years ago, but never finished on the outside. There's weeds growing right next to the building on the property line. So it just seems like space that is, if anybody who owns it, doesn't really matter that SpaceX owns it, but there should be, a little more responsible in making that building look decent. I mean, it's a pretty prominent corner, so it would be nice if code enforcement or even just the planning department reached out to them to see what they could do about that.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Thank you. Is there one other commissioners that would like to say something?
I mean, I'd like to share, oh, sorry, Commissioner Carvalho?
You can go first.
Okay, so I just, like a proud mama, I just like to share something. So if you've heard of the James Webb Space Telescope, my daughter is going to be joining the team that is going to French Guiana on the 17th of this month to be there. She's one of very few women that are going to be on site because she wrote a lot of procedures for the launch of the rocket, and it's an amazing historic moment, and I'm just incredibly proud of her. So I just wanted to share that.
Oh, congrats.
Congratulations. That's
Congratulations.
That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Jason, next. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say welcome back to Greg.
Thank you.
And I want to know if you guys have been receiving like a lot of beer and wine applications to sell for off-site. Because I know for like restaurants over here, we've been getting a lot of applications for businesses, especially during the pandemic, to be able to sell alcohol off-site for off-site consumption.
No, I do have an upcoming application, Commissioner, but it's for on-site beer and wine. So I have not received any requests for off-site sales from the restaurants at all.
Okay.
In my recent experience in nearby cities, I haven't seen that either.
Okay. I guess it's just all the applications I've been getting. Yeah. All right. That's it.
Thank you. Anything else further from the commissioners?
Yeah.
Commissioner Carvalho, you work in, it's the Beverly Hills, right? The city that you work in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all that extra money that's going to
Well, because I know LA, I think LA County allowed for, and especially during the pandemic, for restaurants to be able to sell alcohol and for people to consume it off-site. So I guess they're just taking advantage of it here.
Yeah.
I figured other places were doing it too.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one quick thing, and this might be more of something for us to put on a future agenda. I wanted to see to get the planning department's opinion for us to talk about the impact of SB 9 and 10 on our city. I was approached by a couple of groups that were talking about that particular legislation that recently passed and how that was going to impact the fabric of communities, specifically ones like ours. And I was kind of concerned by the fact that we hadn't heard anything about that through our official channels. It's a big planning thing, and we didn't hear much of it through our department. I know Inglewood's Planning Commission had a whole like town hall meeting about it. They didn't really come up with any solutions because they really can't. But I wanted to see what we see that impact is looking like on our community, what it looks like for Hawthorne, and also just to make sure that we as a body are doing our part to kind of inform the community, to inform them about these things and how they're happening, but more importantly, to let them know like this isn't something that the planning department or the planning commission like just put together and said, hey, this is what's going to happen here. We need to make sure that we're explaining what's how these things come to be in our community. So I would like to see us do something about that, or just really give it like a, what do you call that, explanation. Let them know what it'll look like and how we'll grow moving forward with that.
Good idea.
Anything further from the commissioners? If not, these meetings are adjourned at 6:54 p.m. Thank you, commissioners, for being here.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you, staff. Thank you. Good to see you.